Today on the Brett Allen Show, we have a very special guest. I'm so honored to be chatting with Roslyn Kind, musician, artist, storyteller, all of the things. And we're going to talk about new music, a new single, The Look of Love, The Island, available digitally now through Here Now. Yeah, I mean, I'm so thrilled. Thank you for your time, Roslyn. It's a pleasure to meet you and chat with you today.
Same here, sweetie. It's very much of a pleasure to meet you too.
Well, I've been a fan for a long time and I love your music and I've just watched your career over time and I'm so happy to be able to discuss the new music. It's great because I mean it's everywhere. It's been in films. I mean it's just reached as many people as you could possibly think of. I have to ask just right out of the gate, when you're creating new music and putting things together, do you ever get to a place as an artist where you feel 100% comfortable to release it and have people listen to it? Or is it typically like most creatives where you hear it and
We're
you go,
never
man,
satisfied.
never satisfied with the work that you create?
I think that there's always that little bit because I think we're always our own worst critics. So
Yeah.
sometimes you think, oh, I could have done something else different. It would have been better or whatever. Um, but my most recent one, I'm very proud of. So I'm not feeling that way about it.
That's good. Well, it's fantastic. And, I feel like when I hear music like this from yourself, amazingly, or other musicians or artists, one of the things I think that's great to connect to is it's personal. Like you get it, like it's not just a ditty that you're writing, although that could be the case maybe at some point if you're writing something fun and quick, but it's personal and it's relatable. This song in particular, I'm interested to know, Rosalind, when you were writing it, how many stages does this go through? Because, you're talking about things that are important and have messages for whomever, might listen at some point down the line for sure.
Well, may I interrupt you and just say, are we talking about my latest
Your
release?
latest, yeah,
Okay, I
absolutely.
did
The
not
look of,
write that.
okay, so you did not
Those
write
are
that
those
particular.
are two those were two major releases from the 70s. Burt Bacharach and Hal David on The Look of Love, and
Okay.
Marilyn and Alan Bergman for the English lyrics, and Yvonne Linz on the music for The Island. So I interpreted it in my way. It
Yeah, of
was
course. Yeah.
my personal arrangement with my people musically, and the storyline in my video is something that I came up with that I wanted to message with it just through the lyrics of the pop songs, which work beautifully.
Yeah, well, let's talk about when you are writing something personally. Let's go back to that conversation as far as your process. When you're doing that, I imagine sometimes maybe some of these songs can take a while to write. I know we talked about these you're comfortable with, but let's just talk about your catalog in general. Do you get to a place where you find yourself challenged in
Um,
writing and that sort of thing?
I really have only written the lyrics to one song.
Okay.
I have not really written more than one song. It's called The Light of Love. And I was a lyricist, and I had a partner lyricist, Judy Quay, and Michael Orland on the music. This we did in the early 90s, the late 80s. And it was very personal to me because it was the reason I did it was because of my own search for why I'm here,
Uh,
and for what is my purpose here on earth. And I had a past life regression that brought me back to a lifetime where I found out that purpose. And then in 1987, I climbed Bell Rock during the harmonic convergence. I'm very much a spiritual person, so I want to bring love and light back into the world where it's lacking, and we're very much lacking it today.
yes.
Um, and we have to fight to keep that light here. It's so dark right now, and all the angels of light have to come out and swoop down, and we have to clean our environment of all the poisons that are being let into this world, socially and whatever else, because man was created, we're supposed to love each other for our differences, for our similarities. We're supposed to want to know about each other and embrace it and
Hmm.
exchange. It's not about fear and hatred. So I found that out, and my Light of Love song is about when you find that love. You know, you have to learn to love yourself first, and then basically spreading that love. You know, where you might have to go, you might have to leave where you're at, you might have to explore, whether that's, you know, psychically or physically, to find out where you belong and what is it that you can do in this world to be a positive influence in some way. Because I always say positive because I don't want to talk about somebody wanting to do horrible things. You know, we should all
Right.
benefit each other and benefit the earth, you know. So that's what Light of Love is about. That was my original song, Light of Love. But that's the only one I really was involved with writing. And yes, we did have times where we got stumped, times where we broke for Chinese lunch and opened up a bundle of fortune cookies, which at one day we got all the fortune cookies in the bag were all the same fortune. But
That's
yeah, we have
interesting. Yeah,
to,
that's kind of a weird experience. I mean, where it's all the same.
yeah, right. And we actually called the restaurant and asked for more fortune cookies because how come all of these have the same fortune? But we, you know, you take a break, you have to breathe, you have to, you know, you sometimes you think about stuff when you're away from each other writing, and then when you come together, it starts afresh. It even comes with recording. Sometimes with recording, you're stuck and you have to come back because we listen to it over and over again, the things that we try, and we have to put it together. We've got to mix it, and when, you know, it's it's a process. It's a process, even knowing what instruments you want to use on it. The kind of sound you want to reveal. I personally, I love strings, and I love the oboe. The oboe is my favorite orchestral because I love the cry of the oboe. I have it in most of my songs. But yes, it's an in and out process. It doesn't just, I mean, maybe some people write like that. Maybe people come, you know, have been here before and they just spew it out. And there are people that can just, you know, literally talk a song. You know, they speak and in the moment do a song. I haven't been gifted that way, but I take very seriously the messages I want to convey and convey them in the right way so that it would get people's hearts attention,
Mhm.
not the other part, not the, you know, the greed and all that, but the heart.
I love it. I mean, I'm inspired now, and I'm not a musician necessarily, but just as someone who is a creative and does certain things, it's important to me because I feel like, you know, sometimes, as you said, there's a lot of focus on the negative,
Mhm.
but I think focusing on the positive is far better. If you know what I'm saying, like especially being a parent and having a child and, you know, having to deal with that and trying to get his attention off negativity and focus. I think there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but I think what you feed grows, right? Like if you
Right.
feed the
What you put
negativity,
in is what you get out. And hopefully you can influence others in a good way, not a bad way, not to violence and not to hatred and not to fear, but to welcoming the differences. Have discussions about the different. You don't always have to agree, but it's the way you handle it. And it should be handled in a positive way too, because we're all really one. We come from the same universal light.
yeah,
We have the same blood, the same color. You know, our skin may be different. We might come from different cultures, but I find that fascinating. Instead of
yeah,
fearful, I would like to, you know, uh, to connect with people who are different, who can expand my horizons. I don't want to be a narrow-minded thinker.
right.
I want my children. I don't have any children, but I care for the children of the world. I have nieces and nephews, and I think about their future and what's going on today with the book banning everything. No, this is not right. You know, going back 50 years, 100 years, I don't think so. Important that everyone votes because
Yes,
I don't think
100%.
as much as it's touted on the the far right side that everybody wants what he wants. No, that's not true. I think, we owe our allegiance to our country, not to a man. And we were founded as a multi-racial, cultural society that has welcomed the immigrant who has contributed in every way to our growth.
Yeah,
And that
no, I couldn't
you should
agree
not be
more.
fearful of that.
Right, for sure.
I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. It was very much a melting pot. So, I had friends of every culture. And
I love it.
I'd go by judging people by their heart.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, for sure. I'm interested to know, you've had such a long career and have done film, television, you've done music. When you are working on a project, do you ever or often get solicited by people who are starting out, asking you for advice, or perhaps maybe coming to you and saying, "Hey, I want to get into music or I want to get into film or television." Do you have good sage advice? I imagine you would for somebody that's just getting started in your industry
I
that you've been
haven't
a part
really
of for so long.
I haven't really been personally addressed, but in a lot of interviews, I'm asked that. And I just recently conducted a class for a friend of mine has a podcast called Meet the Biz, where he works with actors that are disabled with all kinds of
Okay.
disabilities. And I taught a class on singing from the heart. And it
Yeah.
was so rewarding. I can't wait to do it again because it was a marvelous experience. And basically, what I would tell people is that number one, you must love what you do,
Yeah.
and you must believe in yourself. And you have to feel so strongly because this world and this business is very difficult.
Yeah.
In the world in general these days, it's difficult and there's a lot of competition. You have to really have a great belief in yourself, not to be like you think you're better than, like you're above the rest, but just for the confidence within you so that nobody can deter you from what you want to go after, that you can go after it and achieve it. Don't let anybody color those feelings. Don't let anybody step on your dreams.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's great because I think sometimes it's easy to get sidetracked by what other people think, right? And what other people's opinions are of yourself instead of how you view yourself. I love that. I think that's amazing. That's definitely good
Like, I
advice to
think
live
that's an
by.
important thing. We can't listen to what other people, I don't know, care what you think about me. I know how I value what I am, who I am, and what I have to offer in this world. And
Uh-huh.
within me that I'm a good person. And I only want to give out positives in the world, you know. So people have to feel that, that kind of security within themselves so that they can't be swayed by fear or hatred.
Uh,
You know, I keep saying every day, think from your heart. I know everybody says think from your mind. Yes, but it should be triggered by the heart. I feel not from
yeah.
greed, not from power, from the heart. Everybody has a right in this world for equality, for chances in life. And nobody else has the right to step on those or to tell you how to act. As long as you are good to your neighbor, you know evil from good, right?
Yeah.
And do unto others as you would have them do unto you. There are 10 commandments, you know what I mean? I believe in that kind of stuff. I don't believe that religion belongs in politics. It should be separation. But I do believe an important ingredient, even in our politics, is compassion and integrity and justice, equality. Everybody deserves a chance in life.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Well, this has all been fantastic. I know you've got the music. Are there any other fun things that you're working on at the moment that you can share? Because I mean, I'm definitely inspired by you for sure. So I'm always excited to hear from people, what they're working on next and what keeps them going in this creative process that you're a part of.
Well, right now I'm waiting for a new group that I met and watched them perform, and a friend of mine brought them to each brought us together, and they're called First World Cinema, and they have a humongous following, and they are so lovely and full of light and lovely young men. And they wrote an original song for me. So I'm looking forward to them getting off the road, because then I'm going to go in the studio with them and record this new song. I also have another song being written for my co-producer on my video, Malik Hanna and myself, that we'll do as a duet. And we're even thinking about doing something with friends of ours who are Latin Grammy winners in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
And then, there's always open doors. I never know what's going to happen, and I kind of plan, but I just see what's the next door that's opening, or what is something new I can try, or since COVID, I have not really gotten back onto the stage singing again on the road. I've been doing the recordings and the videos, and I did a fundraiser, but I haven't been out there yet, really. And I have my dreams are for a big show about kindness and bringing hearts together.
Well, I'm there. I'm definitely there. Well, I have one last question for you. And I just, your hands are involved in so many things, and it's always a creative process. And you alluded to it a little bit earlier, but when you're just feeling stuck creatively, what do you find yourself able to do that maybe is not arts related, or do you have ways to get out of the creative funk, so to speak, and sort of get back into the vibe, whether it's Chinese food,
Well, it's always food. You always have a lunch
I
break
know
or a
all this
snack
food
break.
talk, Miss Kind,
Sometimes
is making me hungry.
my record producer, it's always an apple and dark chocolate, And with my other friends, will break for a meal. I don't really go to movies anymore. I watch them mostly at home. And I'm a big news watcher because I need to be on top of what's going on. But it's just being with friends, people you love and who love you.
Yeah.
Open the doors, find that love. We all deserve to be loved and to love. And I think that is the best thing that you can hope for, to bring you when you're stuck or when things aren't going right. That is the best vibration you can have.
I love it. Well, the music, again, as I mentioned, is absolutely fantastic. The new single, Look of Love, The Island, which is available digitally now through Here Now. And of course,
and it's on a video on YouTube, the whole
yes,
story.
it's on YouTube too, which is very cool that you were involved with that. I like hearing, but I also like seeing. And of course, I mean, I've seen you on countless television shows. Give Me a Break. I remember particularly seeing you on. I'm almost 50 this year, and I
You're a
remember you.
baby. You're a
I
baby.
know, but I have a 9-year-old. He keeps me young. It's interesting. I joke with my son's mom a little bit about getting older, but she's like, they say younger children keep you, young. That's why grandparents like to be around grandkids a lot.
Sure. I mean,
I appreciate your so.
most of my friends and the people I'm working with are much younger than me. And they're keeping me, they said, my God, your energy, you're this, you would never know that I was that much older than them, which is, lovely. I mean,
Yeah,
but
I think that's cool. I imagine working with that sort of generation, you know, is good in a lot of different ways, like perhaps maybe the way things were when you started versus now. I did want to ask you though, like having been in the industry for so long, and of course, everybody knows your sister and your experiences there and just kind of everything in that way. Do you see or do you feel that the industry is moving in a positive direction, just the way things are happening now? Not to lead the witness necessarily, but I'm interested to know, like, you having both feet in both worlds, like versus when you started versus now. The comment about working with younger people kind of piqued my interest in that.
well, I'll tell you what it was. When I started out, I was overweight, and always I was young. In those days, it was all ruled by the older people.
Okay.
Business was all the older people you had to look up to, the record companies, your management, whatever. Everything was, you was a kid and they were the older leading you.
Okay.
Today, it's more led by the young. The young have are more inventive. They're going in their own directions. They're not being dictated to. I was very much dictated to when I was on a label in 1969.
Okay.
What I should sing, what I shouldn't sing, you know what I mean? Today, people have more choice. They can
Yeah.
really be and write for themselves and say the messages. And then the companies are actually looking for those actual, singer-songwriters. They want them with their originality. And, without the company, you can still be out there.
Yeah. With the age of social media,
Yeah.
I feel like there's no excuse necessarily. I mean, obviously, you need the break. That has to be a part of it, and
But
if you
it's
don't have
also,
that,
years ago, it was more a smaller industry. People had management, they had press agents. Now, anybody who's on the internet, anybody who has a computer, anybody that can record anything, everything, there's so much. It's like mind-boggling. You don't know where
yeah,
to go first or what to listen to first. And you have to garner your audience from the internet.
yeah,
Because even record companies, if you want to get a record company, they come and see how many followers you have. How many radio shows and podcasts and this have you been on? What is the response? Whereas I signed a contract right out of high school,
yeah,
before I got out of high school, but I was dictated to. And
yeah. I
I think
hear
that's a
so many
big
people say
difference
that.
today.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, I had RCA tell me they weren't going to put out my second album until I lost weight
Wow.
again. And yet, look how many people today are overweight and in the business thriving.
Yeah, I love your honesty. It's true. You
You
know,
know,
it's a paradox of choice in a way because like I started this show 5 years ago. It's changed over time. And I've worked with Harlan, your publicist, off and on over the years. And the interesting thing is that, like, you know, for me to get a television show, a talk show, even as a I can't think of the term, but field reporter, whatever, to do entertainment reporting, there's like a million steps to get through, and you have to. Part of it is looks, part of it is social. I've had some very good success, fortunately, but when I started this, there's no rules necessarily. I can just do it, and I
mhm.
get to talk to amazing people like you with hard work, which I think is so cool. So yeah, it's crazy to think how it works now. I've talked to people who have said, "Oh my gosh, my record deal didn't go through because I didn't have enough social media followers or
It's amazing,
whatever."
isn't it? How much
It's
they count on
crazy.
that. I mean, I'm terrible at posting. So I have somebody helping me with my social media now since I didn't have it before, but I started using that help when I put out my latest project because you need it. Nobody else, otherwise people don't know to go to you. More people are discovering me now.
Yeah. No,
So
I
it's
think that's great. Well,
a
you get to,
necessary thing, it's
yeah.
a necessary thing.
Well, I know who you are and have known for a very long time. Yeah, it's interesting. One last comment. There was a band that posted a video where they got like plaques from YouTube and they're like, this is the new platinum record. This is the new gold record, getting plaques from YouTube based on your subscribers, and gone are the days. I could just tell you countless of stories of musicians I've spoken to, amazing like yourself, who are just trying to figure this out now because it's not a day where you go get a record deal like you used to. And you have to create fan experiences differently. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I appreciate your time. I love the music and have loved
Thank you.
watching your career. Yeah, of course. And I'm a fan, so I'm excited and I can't wait to see what comes next for you musically or your work that you do socially. And I think it's all awesome. I love every bit of it.
Thank you, Brett. That's very sweet of you. As long as I can put positives out there, it makes me happy. It makes me happy when people come to me after a show and tell me I touched their life in a positive way somehow because of some song I sang or whatever. And I always communicate with my audience. I look at eyes. I look whoever I can see. I don't like just look into the atmosphere. Because That's who I am. That's how you touch the heart of the person. And I always say an affirmation before I go on stage, asking the Lord above or the universal light, however you believe in it, to let me be a vessel for the message of love and light. And if there's anybody in that audience that needs it desperately to hear it, please let it hit them. You know, like may they see it and feel it and hear it. And to always keep my feet on the right path for good stuff, for good and positive things. That's all I can do, and to be the best that I can be as a human being and as a performer, to use my gift for the right purpose.
Well, I love it, and I certainly feel that. Roslyn Kind, you're the best. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
your time this afternoon. I really do appreciate it.
Same here. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.